Only breaking news right now out of North Park where a tree fell onto a home. We're going to have details coming up next.
Plus, San Diego's Mayor Todd Gloria lifting evacuation warnings today. CBS 8's Regina Yorita will join us with the latest as local leaders prepare for next week's continued rainfall. And a health alert in Imperial Beach. Doctors in the South facing a rise in gastrointestinal illnesses. CBS 8's Chris Groh is live there to tell us how these illnesses might be tied to our recent storms.
Glad you're with us. 7 a.m. on the CW here. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Neda Irampur. And we do want to get to this breaking news that we're covering here for you. This out of North Park where this large tree, look at that. It fell onto the top of the house, onto the roof there. It was just before 3:30 this morning. Quite the wake up. Certainly, I'm sure it was a loud bang. 2200 block of Q Terrace. This video came into our newsroom from not too long ago.
Yeah, we've had really saturated grounds here recently with all these rains we've been getting. We see that a lot of times after that. These trees start coming down. You can see part of that tree landed on an SUV or a pickup truck as well, parked right outside that house. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton of information if anyone was in that home at the time or if any injuries were reported. We are working the story. As soon as we learn those details, we'll pass them along to you. But yeah, the ground very wet and saturated after last week's storm, of course, this one, and it's still coming down out there.
Yeah, and we had the wind that came with this latest.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of wind with this one and more wind over the course of the day today. We've got today as a scattered shower type of day, a very breezy day out there. And right now it looks like that activity is not just singling out San Diego County, it's across the greater southwestern U.S. and really in particular across the bight from Santa Barbara down through San Diego. Let's take a look at our county specifically. That's where activity is at its highest. We do still see an opportunity for maybe a quarter of an inch in some spots, although most of us are going to stay on the lighter end of that. We just got new totals in from the National Weather Service. Brings us mostly in that 1 to 2 inch range that we were expecting. So looks like we could still add on to those totals with what we have arriving just north of the Del Mar area. Want to give a shout out to one of our viewers who sent in this photo from Mount Laguna. Take a look. Yeah, they got at least a dusting on the car there. It looks like the ground is pretty covered. So you can share your photos with us and your videos on the CBS 8 app. Download it, click on the Near Me tab, and send your photos and videos our way. This is how we know that our mountains in San Diego got a little bit of snow. More on the way over the course of the day, possibly. Next week, another major storm coming our way. We'll forecast what to expect with that one coming up in just a bit.
Meantime, this morning, local leaders breathing a sigh of relief. So far, we haven't seen any major flooding, any catastrophic flooding that we saw last week.
Right. Mayor Todd Gloria does plan to lift an evacuation warning this morning for those who are living in those harder hit areas like in southeast San Diego, but he still wants people to be prepared.
CBS 8's Regina Yorita live in Imperial Beach here this morning. And Regina, how do things look there now?
Yeah, good morning, and we're looking at a very different picture compared to last week. We did experience very heavy downpour yesterday, certainly made the ground very saturated, but again, no major flooding in this area. So for families here, they're grateful about it, but they're still questioning the city why it took them this long to become proactive.
Took care of it in 2 days. They took care of this whole section, something that could have been done 30, 20 years ago, 10 years ago.
And yesterday we did see more widespread rain and it brought concerns of even more flooding, but the city says the system was far less severe than the one that hit last week. Mayor Gloria, along with other city officials, say last week was a once in a 1,000-year storm. However, he reminded residents to remain vigilant and prepare for more rain, noting that more precipitation is still in the horizon with another storm coming next week. As far as residents, although they're pleased to know city crews cleaned up the storm channels, you can imagine the frustration they feel as many are still dealing with last week's devastation. Some saying this could have been prevented and it should have already been done before. So back out here right behind me, you can see just some of the devastation that people are still dealing with, right? They're going to have a tough recovery this week for the next few months or so. So that's what we're dealing with in this area. But again, no major flooding. We are probably going to see residents, neighbors coming back from hotels or shelters after having that evacuation warning. And we're still waiting on Mayor Todd Gloria to lift that evacuation warning. So we'll keep you guys updated. That's latest here in the Mountain View neighborhood. I'll send things back to you guys.
Regina, thank you. Right now, a shelter is open at the Balboa Park Municipal Gym for anyone affected by the storms. The American Red Cross is working with organizations to provide transportation to the facility for those who need it. San Diego Humane Society also providing pet sheltering services. Around 65 people stayed at the municipal gym last night. The nonprofit says it's prepared to open additional shelters as needed. And today, Feeding San Diego is rescheduling a large food distribution because of the storm. Instead, the event will take place on Monday, February 5th. The location is the same. Starting at 10 a.m. on Monday, flood victims in need of food should line up with their cars at the Faith Chapel parking lot on 9400 Campo Spring Road. That's in Spring Valley. Attendees will receive 40 pounds of ready-to-eat food, vegetables, and fruit. They have enough supplies for about 750 households. And remember, you can keep up to date with the latest weather conditions and alerts on the go by downloading the free CBS 8 app from Google Play or the Apple App Store. This morning, doctors in the South Bay say they are seeing an unprecedented amount of people with gastrointestinal illnesses, which they suspect sewage overflow from Mexico is to blame.
And these are not people just going in the water. It's people who live around that area, breathing the air. In fact, the sewage problem gets worse after rainstorms, as we know. And CBS 8's Chris Groh live in IB now. What are doctors saying? What are they seeing, Chris?
Yeah, good morning, Eric and Netta, and they're seeing a 200% intake from just last week, which means, again, we're still not even seeing the full scope of this issue as we had rains just yesterday, continuing to rain a little bit today, and then the forecast for next week. But they say this has been something that's been happening. It's been something that they've been tracking the data, and they believe the data shows a strong correlation between these heavy rains. Then, of course, the cross-border pollution, that sewage that comes in from the Tijuana River Valley, and then people getting sick. Now, the symptoms can be anything from diarrhea to stomach cramps to even bloody stool, and they say that this is concerning, not necessarily because of what people are being sick with now, but because of long-term implications to everyone's health. They're talking about what are some of the serious medical problems this could be tied to. They question whether it could be leukemia, cancers, or dementia, things that could be present in the next 20 or 30 years. Of course, we were speaking with Doctors Kimberly and Matthew Dixon, a pair of doctors that we've spoken to in the past. They're the ones that have been tracking this data. Here's a little bit of what they had to say in our latest conversation.
It's very concerning, and when we don't have healthy air, we don't have healthy water. When it rains, there's sewage in the water, people get sick. We know that pattern. That's the known, but what about the unknown?
And of course, we know that local as well as state leaders have been urging the federal government to get money that has already been allocated for this problem, to get it spent, to also get more. Because as we move forward and forward, as we've learned in our reporting, the problem in terms of the plants that are used to try to make sure that this sewage is not flowing, only getting more and more expensive. Eric and Netta?
All right, Chris, thank you. You may have noticed we are wearing red today. Well, cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of women, and in the month of February, we are all going red to help fight it.
Today is National Wear Red Day, so yeah, sport some red if you can. And you can go to wearredday.org, a place to donate and support the life-saving work of the American Heart Association. So they really want that message out that taking care of your heart health obviously can save your life. And we don't want to keep reporting this every year. That it's the #1 killer of women.
Yeah, even red graphics we're sporting here today. You throw those red rain boots on.
Yeah.
We're still getting some showers out there.
Seriously,
The puddles are certainly still there.
We've heard them coming down on our roof here in Kearney Mesa. These are the kind of sporadic showers where you might let your guard down a little bit. You look outside, see a little bit of light peeking through just like this. And then what do you know? 10 minutes later, you're soaked, right? So don't let your guard down. I'm here to tell you there are still a lot of scattered showers that we have to get through. There are going to be a couple spots that stay dry throughout the course of the day, but there are also going to be some spots that are dry as of right now and then are wet an hour from now, 2 hours from now, 5 hours from now. Take a look at the totals. Fallbrook takes the cake, 2 inches up in North County. I will say, however, Lake Cuyamaca did overall on our totals get the highest total. That's 2.72 inches. It's just closer to the coastline. And we don't factor in our eastern valleys or mountains. Well, Fallbrook is one of those standouts. Along the coastline, I mean, you can see how much harder North County got hit than the South Bay, for example. National City, though, did come in with over an inch, 1.16 inches. So still some more to go. This is what we see on satellite radar right now. Areas in green showing light to moderate activity over the next couple hours. We still have many of those showers stacked offshore. Those are going to arrive onshore in the coming hours. So today, 54% chance of rain. Drops down significantly. Saturday and Sunday, we get a little bit of a break in the wet weather. weather. Enjoy the outdoors for tomorrow. Ground is still going to be saturated, so you might still find some puddles. I don't know if throwing down a picnic blanket is going to be the best idea in the grass, for example, tomorrow, but you can still spend time outside, maybe go get on a hike. Keep in mind, again, the ground is still wet. Sunday is a mostly dry day. By the afternoon and evening hours, we'll start to see a few scattered showers pop up. More significant activity climbs into Monday, Tuesday. Those are our two standout days for atmospheric river number 2 to hit us. It will last all the way through Thursday of next week. Let's take a look at the rest of the day, and then we'll look at that second storm. Rest of the day, most of our models look like this, all the way through 1:30 p.m. Another wave of moisture coming, more moderate activity off toward Pine Valley, a little bit of snow off toward the mountaintops. And then by tonight, here's 8 p.m., we are mostly dry out there. So can we rule out showers tonight? No. Is activity going to be less intense? Yes. Much less intense tonight than what we saw yesterday and even what we see this morning. And then we go through Saturday. Saturday at 10 p.m., late Saturday and early Sunday, there's the opportunity for a few sprinkles out there. But again, most of that activity does not really come our way until we get into Sunday. Here's the Pineapple Express, the atmospheric river we're talking about that is going to contribute to 4 overall inches of rain coming down. Trudges from Northern California all the way down to Southern California. There it is. Brunt of the storm for us is going to be Monday and Tuesday, and then lingering all the way through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So here's the 8-day. We get that nice break in the wet weather. Again, models are favoring Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, giving us a bit of activity, but much less expected over the course of the weekend than what we see over the next 5 days following. So when we look at the 8-day forecast as a whole, the 2 driest days that we have out there, not completely dry, but driest days are Saturday and Sunday. Next week, Monday through Friday, we're looking at a good amount of rain. Again, 4 inches along the coast and inland. Mountains could be favoring 6 to 8 inches. Yeah, we are going to be working through some wet weather. So get prepared for it. Don't let your guard down too much. Keep the jacket, the hood, the umbrella all on hand, and brace for a lot of wind around that time frame too. We're still seeing some of that wind die down today. Much calmer though over the course of the weekend. Back to you. Oh, sorry. Forgot about traffic. Oops. Here's a live look at the Oceanside Boulevard. It's chill. Back to you.
Glad to see that. All right, it's chill. Thank you very much, Evan. Coming up next, President Joe Biden says a retaliation plan against Iran will be multi-tiered, the very latest as tensions rise in the Middle East.